Okay. Hi there. My name's Stuart Harrison, and I'm from Action Deafness, and I'm actually the project manager for their transformation project. Leicester, it's in Leicester.
Can you tell me a bit about the project?
The project's aim is at deaf and hard of hearing and deafened and deaf-blind adults in the Leicestershire area. And they have to be aged over 19. We're providing them with a variety of learning activities. Some of them could be fun activities, and some of them could be more serious activities. What we're actually trying to do is to provide evidence of the difficulty that deaf people have when they're trying to access informal adult learning. What we want to do is try and influence the local learning providers to make them think about their accessibility and their accessibility policy, and how they can actually improve their services for deaf people locally. What I feel is that we may end up with some successes there, but probably we'll need to do some further work ourselves in actually providing courses and activities ourselves.
So what's lacking at the moment?
The difficulty for deaf, hard of hearing, deaf-blind people, in most areas of life, the difficulty is what? Communication and access to communication. Learning providers normally operate on very small budgets, and perhaps they don't even consider the budget for communication support. And we have to start that work when we actually approach them. As a deaf person or a deaf learner, they actually haven't got the funding to provide that communication support for them. And that is the problem for informal services. Statutory learning, for example, college and universities and schools, that isn't such an issue. The funding is there. But adult informal learners, they do have a difficulty. So really we're trying to persuade local authorities. For example, I've been working with our local sports development team. They want to find a way of making their activities accessible to deaf people. They've been thinking with us of training 2 deaf people to actually become coaches themselves, so the community can help itself. That's an example of the type of thing we're doing.
How straightforward is it to be able to implement the things that are needed to help deaf-blind learners, hearing-impaired learners?
It's not straightforward at all, really. We've had to use a large chunk of our actual budget for communication support. We can never know until the actual people register on the course what communication support they actually need. So we've made a decision that each of our learners will need a BSL interpreter, a palantypist, And if needed, we can provide a deaf-blind manual interpreter, so that we have it ready, so we know that it's ready there if they decide to come. So therefore you've got 3 different interpreters or communications workers needed and required for one session. So this is why the project can be so expensive.
Finally, what outcome do you hope to achieve?
As I've mentioned, we want to reach out to local learning providers and give them examples of good practice. Make them aware of the resources that are possible and available in Action Deafness. So if they need to find some communication support, they can actually come to us. We also want to create more learning opportunities, including in the deaf community, for the deaf community itself. And I'm hoping that people will come forward to offer their services, perhaps as becoming future teachers themselves, and share their interests and share their skills with other people. Also, I want to integrate the wider deaf community to get them more involved in community issues. At the moment, it is rather a very small group of active people. We need to broaden that group and bring in others. Perhaps those that are more isolated outside the city, we're hoping to be able to bring those people together.